Ladies and gentlemen, stop scrolling right now, because what just erupted in Atlanta isn't drama. It's devastation, the kind that breaks hearts and friendships, and turns love into a war zone. Imagine a mansion filled with diamonds, designer shoes, and secrets. Now, picture that same mansion echoing with screams, shattered trust, and a single text that changed everything. Tie, the self-made king of the South, pacing like a storm in human form. Eyes red, voice shaking, trying to process the unthinkable. Tiny, the woman he trusted more than anyone, allegedly made a decision that ripped the soul out of their world. Shekinah's pregnancy is gone, and Atlanta will never be the same again. Tears, betrayal, rage. It's not just gossip anymore. It's heartbreak playing out live on every phone screen from Atlanta to LA. The group chats are exploding. Fans are divided, and hashtags like Touch and Tiny cross the lean, and Talk to TI snaps are tearing through the internet like wildfire. Was it jealousy? Was it control? Or was this the ultimate act of revenge in a love triangle that went too far? You think you've seen scandals before? Think again. This isn't a headline. It's an emotional earthquake shaking the heart of hip-hop royalty. And trust me, after tonight, nothing in Atlanta will ever look the same. This is Gossip Spill Vibe, and the storm has just begun. Atlanta was quiet that night. The kind of silence that comes right before a storm destroys everything in its path. Inside a marble-floored mansion, glowing with soft gold lights, T was pacing like a man possessed. His phone buzzed every few seconds. Missed calls, messages, notifications from blogs that shouldn't even know what they knew. The name Shekinah kept flashing across his screen like a curse. He clenched his jaw, chest heaving, every muscle tight with disbelief. He couldn't wrap his mind around it. Tiny, his queen, his ride or die, the woman he thought would never cross that line, had allegedly made a decision that tore through their world like lightning. They said Tiny had gone behind everyone's back. They said she'd ended Shekinah's pregnancy after discovering the truth. And that truth, whispered in every corner of Atlanta, was that T might have been the father. Nobody could confirm it. Nobody dared to deny it. But in a city built on secrets and status, rumors spread faster than fire and dry grass. And tonight, that fire had consumed everything. Inside that house, heartbreak had a sound. It was the heavy breath T exhaled, the trembling sobs that came from down the hall, the sound of a phone hitting marble and shattering. The echoes felt endless. Tiny stood in the hallway, mascara streaking down her cheeks, shaking but refusing to back down. "I had to do it," she whispered under her breath, her voice cracking like glass. "I had to protect my family, but protect from what? From pain, from shame, from herself." Atlanta's elite knew this family too well. The red carpet smiles, the family shows, the perfect brand. But behind those velvet ropes and TV filters, there was chaos, old scars that never healed, jealousy that never faded, love that had turned into power. And when love becomes power, decisions turn deadly. Shekinah, the one who once laughed the loudest in Tiny's videos, now sat alone in a dark room, scrolling through endless comments, her face pale, her eyes swollen, her heart broken. Screenshots were everywhere. Anonymous pages claimed to have leaked DMs, voice notes, and hospital details. Whether any of it was real didn't matter. The internet had already decided the truth for her. She was the villain. She was the victim. She was trending. Meanwhile, T's rage was volcanic. He wasn't speaking. He was fuming. "You went too far," he muttered to no one, his voice trembling with anger that came from betrayal deeper than words. The mansion staff stayed silent, pretending not to hear. The kids had been sent away hours earlier. Too much yelling, too much emotion, too much that couldn't be explained. The city's gossip circuits ignited instantly. Blog pages like ATL Tea Room and Hollywood's Next Mess started dropping exclusive details. Some claim Tiny confronted Shekinah in person. Others said T found out after it was too late. The only consistent detail across every version, the heartbreak was real. Insiders claimed T had stormed out earlier in the evening, pacing through the driveway, muttering to himself, phone in hand, trying to reach Shekinah. But she wasn't answering. She couldn't. She was broken, humiliated, and terrified. Every vibration of her phone felt like a dagger. Every ping was another headline dissecting her pain. Tiny's friends tried to defend her online, saying she did what she thought was right, that she was protecting her family's name. But fans weren't buying it. You don't fix betrayal by creating another one. One user commented, "This isn't protection, it's punishment." Another wrote, "The public didn't just react. They took sides. They analyzed. They weaponized every second of footage they could find." And through it all, T felt his kingdom crumble. The man who built an empire on respect and control now watched everything slip away. The respect, the love, the illusion of unity. Fame had turned his life into an open wound that millions could scroll through. In a voice note that allegedly leaked hours later, someone close to the family described the scene. "He was shaking, man. Like, I've never seen him like that. He kept saying, 'This ain't love. This ain't family.'" The clip spread faster than wildfire, played on repeat across social media, stitched into reaction videos, dissected in podcasts. Back inside, Tiny sat in silence, surrounded by luxury, but drowning in guilt. Her phone was blowing up, not just from blogs, but from people she once trusted. Managers, stylists, even producers, asking for statements. The PR machine was spinning, but nothing could control the narrative anymore. The truth didn't matter. The perception did. Tiny's voice cracked as she spoke to herself. Nobody understands what it's like to live under this kind of pressure. But pressure doesn't justify pain. And in this moment, Atlanta didn't care about reasons. It cared about receipts, screenshots, and scandals. The mansion that once felt like power now felt like punishment. Every framed photo on the wall, smiling faces, award nights, family dinners, looked like ghosts of a past life. The silence between Tiny and Ty was heavier than any argument. He walked past her, eyes cold, voice low. "You didn't save the family. You buried it." Outside, paparazzi had already gathered. News vans lined the block, their cameras waiting for the next meltdown. Helicopters hovered above like vultures, and fans stood behind gates with phones up, live streaming the pain of people they'd once admired. The lights of the cameras flickered through the windows like lightning, every flash a reminder that privacy was a myth. Shekinah's name was trending #1. A single tweet, "I didn't deserve this," sent Twitter into meltdown mode. Thousands of replies, reactions, and think pieces followed. Some defended her, others mocked her, but nobody stayed silent. The internet doesn't sleep when emotions explode. As the hours dragged on, new sources kept emerging. One claimed Tiny found out about Shekinah's pregnancy during a private conversation weeks ago. Another alleged that T had promised to handle it quietly. But the truth, if there even was one, was buried under layers of speculation, shame, and heartbreak. At 3:00 a.m., T stood by the balcony, looking out over the city lights. His reflection in the glass looked unfamiliar. A man broken, betrayed, and furious. Behind him, Tiny sat on the couch, motionless, her phone lighting up her tear-streaked face. Neither spoke, neither needed to. The silence said everything. Down the street, neighbors whispered, "You hear what happened? He's losing it. She's out of control." Everyone had a version of the story. Every version was worse than the last. By sunrise, the mansion was surrounded. Drones buzzed overhead. Vloggers streamed live from the sidewalk. Fans debated on live streams. The narrative had escaped their hands completely. Tiny's team released a short statement. "Our family is dealing with a private matter. Please respect our family is dealing with a private matter. Please respect our privacy." But in 2025, privacy doesn't exist. Ty scrolled through the chaos on his phone. Every headline twisted the knife deeper. Tiny ends Shekinah's pregnancy. Ty erupts in fury. Atlanta power couple on the brink. Shekinah breaks silence. They took everything from me. He read until the words blurred. Then slowly he turned his phone off and whispered, "They don't care about truth. They care about the show." And that was the moment the rage finally broke through the surface. He threw his phone, smashing it against the wall. The sound echoed through the house like thunder. Tiny flinched but didn't move. For the first time, she looked small. Not the confident woman fans saw online, but a person collapsing under the weight of her own choices. The emotional storm had begun, and this was just the first night. The phone lay shattered against the wall, its broken screen flickering like the last heartbeat of a dying secret. The house was silent, but that silence was dangerous. The kind that hums with anger and regret. Tiny sat frozen, her mascara smudged reflections, staring back at her from the black mirror of the TV screen. Outside, Atlanta was waking up, but inside, time had stopped. Then came the buzz, hundreds of messages, lighting up what was left of T's other phone. Screenshots, tweets, TikToks, insider voice notes, all feeding the chaos that now had its own rhythm. Every influencer in the city wanted a piece of this pain. Every gossip page was dissecting it like it was breaking news from the White House. "Bro, you trending everywhere." A friend texted him. He didn't reply. The word trending made him sick. Fame was supposed to make him untouchable. Now it felt like a curse carved into his skin. Across town, Shekinah was sitting in a small apartment, curtains drawn, eyes swollen. She hadn't slept. The world knew her heartbreak, but nobody knew the terror that came with it. Her phone vibrated nonstop. Fans sending prayers, trolls calling her names, journalists begging for interviews. Every notification was a scar reopening. She whispered through trembling lips, "I didn't ask for any of this." In the distance, a car door slammed. Paparazzi had found her. Cameras clicked outside the window, flashes leaking through the blinds. Her private nightmare had become public property. She covered her face with shaking hands and muttered, "They won't stop until I break." Back at the mansion, Tiny poured herself a drink with trembling fingers. The clink of ice echoed through the room. Her voice was almost unrecognizable. "They're painting me as the villain," she whispered. "After everything I've done, they think I'm the monster." Ty turned slowly, his eyes bloodshot but sharp. "You made that choice, Tiny. You didn't just end something. You started a war." His words hit harder than any headline. For years, they'd survived every rumor, every scandal. But this was different. This was personal. She looked up, tears brimming. "I did what I had to do. She was tearing us apart. Tip." He slammed his fist on the counter, glass shattering under his hand. "You don't fix betrayal with destruction," he roared. The sound bounced off marble walls, sharp and cold. Outside, a paparazzo's camera caught the shadow of his outburst through the window, and within minutes, the photo hit Twitter with a caption, "T loses control. Police called to mansion." The internet didn't need facts. It only needed a frame. Within an hour, fake reports started circulating. Claims that T had thrown Tiny out, that Shekinah was filing charges, that the police were investigating a domestic dispute. None of it confirmed, all of it viral. Talk shows picked it up before sunrise. Bloggers recorded emergency live streams. Podcasts labeled it Atlanta's biggest implosion since Love and Hip Hop Season 7. Meanwhile, in a small kitchen lit by neon light, Shekinah finally opened her phone to post something, her voice trembling on a live stream. "I didn't betray nobody," she said softly. I didn't deserve to lose something that wasn't even about fame." The comments flooded in. Some hearts, others sent knives. "Clout chasing," one user typed. "You ruined a family," said another. But one comment stood out, pinned instantly by her followers. "The truth always hurts the one who hides it." Across the city, Tiny was scrolling through that same live, her hand trembling. She watched Shekinah's tears, her words, her pain. "I didn't deserve this." The words echoed in Tiny's mind like thunder. She looked toward T standing by the balcony, face hard as stone. "You think she's lying?" she asked. He didn't answer. Silence was louder than denial. By noon, Atlanta was in meltdown mode. Billboards that once displayed luxury brands were now meme templates. News stations interrupted regular programming for updates. Stacked up like bricks, Tiny crossed the line. Justice for Shekinah. TI breakdown. The Atlanta heartbreak. Every scroll on every timeline was filled with fragments of their tragedy. Tiny's team tried to spin the narrative, leaking exclusive interviews about stress, mental health, family protection, but nobody bought it. The damage was done. Screenshots from alleged group chats between Tiny and her close friends went viral. In one, a message supposedly from Tiny read, "I told her to stay away from him. She didn't listen. I had to handle it." The blogs ran it in bold text. Tiny confesses to taking action against Shekinah. Whether it was real or not, didn't matter. The public had chosen their villain, and Tiny was it. At 300 p.m., T left the mansion for the first time in 24 hours. Cameras surrounded him instantly. Tip any comment. Did you really end it with Tiny? Are you pressing charges? The chaos was deafening. He didn't speak. He just kept walking, face hidden under a hoodie. Fists clenched, so tight his knuckles went white. But when he got in his car, a single tear fell down his cheek, something no camera caught. In another part of Atlanta, Shekinah received a message from an unknown number. "They're not done with you yet. Stay quiet." She froze, staring at the screen. Fear crept into her bones. She deleted the text, but the chill remained. As night fell again, the city that once adored this trio now gossiped with venom. At high-end bars, conversations turned dark. "You heard. She ended it. He's never going to forgive that. You think he'll talk to Shekinah again?" The scandal had become social currency, traded over drinks and dinner plates. Back in the mansion, T stood in the recording studio, surrounded by awards that suddenly felt meaningless. Music had always been his escape, but tonight, every lyric sounded hollow. He stared at the microphone, then whispered under his breath, "The whole world watching, and I can't even speak my truth." Tiny appeared at the doorway, her silhouette fragile against the neon glow. "You think I don't feel the pain too?" she said quietly. He looked up, eyes filled with equal parts anger and heartbreak. "You didn't just hurt her. You hurt me. You took away the choice." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't argue. There was nothing left to say. Every apology would sound like PR. Every word would sound rehearsed. Downstairs, the TV blared a talk show headline. "Atlanta royalty crumbles. Sources say divorce imminent." The image of their smiling faces on screen felt like mockery. The internet loved it. Edits flooded TikTok. Dramatic music. Slow motion shots of Tiny crying. Captions reading, "Loyalty doesn't mean silence." Reaction channels went wild, generating millions of views. Overnight, their heartbreak had become entertainment. By midnight, a fake voice note surfaced, allegedly of Tiny admitting the decision was for the brand. It was obviously AI generated, but nobody cared. The comments section exploded with outrage. She sacrificed a baby for image. Ty needs to speak up. Cancel Tiny. The next morning, a drone hovered over the mansion. T looked out his window and saw the blinking red light, the symbol of fame, eating privacy alive. He closed the blinds and muttered, "Let them talk. They always talk." Blinds and muttered, "Let them talk. They always talk." Tiny, sitting on the edge of the bed, whispered, "But what if talking is all that's left of us?" Neither knew that just blocks away, a new exclusive was being uploaded. A leaked video that would push this scandal from tragedy to full-blown viral apocalypse. And as that video loaded, buffering under the weight of millions waiting to watch, the city held its breath. unaware that the next click would destroy whatever fragments of peace they had left. The digital clock hit 12:01 a.m., and Atlanta's darkest night wasn't over. It was just getting started. The video went live at 12:02 a.m., and within 10 minutes, Atlanta had lost its mind. The thumbnail alone was chaos. Blurry figures, muffled voices, a heated argument echoing through marble walls. The title, Inside Tear, and Tiny's explosive confrontation, Shekinah's cry, heard in the background. It was the kind of upload that didn't just break the internet, it broke people. The clip opened with shouting. Ty's voice, sharp, heavy, cracking under fury. "You crossed every line, Tiny." And her reply, trembling but defiant. "I did what you wouldn't." Then faintly a sob, a woman's voice whispering through tears. "Please stop." Viewers swore it was Shekinah. Whether it was real or staged didn't matter. The internet decided it was gospel. Within hours, the video hit 5 million views. Reaction channels dissected every syllable like detectives in a crime documentary. By sunrise, the story had evolved into something unrecognizable. News anchors called it Atlanta's celebrity collapse. Morning shows debated whether Tiny should face legal action. Every outlet had exclusive sources. And behind the headlines, 3 lives were imploding in real time. Inside the mansion, T hadn't slept. His eyes were bloodshot, hands trembling as he scrolled through endless headlines that read like obituaries for his reputation. Ty snaps. Tiny's secret exposed. Shekinah's silent breakdown. Every word felt like a stab. His publicist called nonstop, begging him to issue a statement. "Just deny it all," she said, but he couldn't lie anymore. The truth, or at least his version of it, was too heavy to hide. He looked around his studio. Platinum records lined the walls. Silent witnesses to a man now trapped by fame. His reflection in the glass trophy cases looked hollow. Fame had built the cage. Love had locked it. Betrayal had thrown away the key. Downstairs, Tiny sat in the kitchen, phone in hand, scrolling through messages that blurred together. Threats, sympathy, judgment. Every ping was another reminder that her private life was now a public feeding frenzy. She whispered, "I can't breathe anymore," clutching her chest, as if trying to hold her heart together. Her friend texted, "You need to go live and tell your side." But Tiny knew better. The moment she spoke, the internet would twist it into something uglier. Silence was her only weapon, even if it was destroying her from the inside. Meanwhile, Shekinah was living through her own kind of nightmare. Her name had become the internet's favorite tragedy. Memes mocked her pain. Blogs exaggerated her every move. She couldn't leave her apartment without cameras waiting outside. She ended up losing everything. One news site claimed because she trusted the wrong people. But deep inside, Shekinah still wanted to speak, to tell the world that what happened wasn't about fame. It was about love, betrayal, and fear. She opened her phone and typed a post that shook every feed within seconds. "They took something from me I can never get back, and no apology will ever fix that." The post hit 1 million likes in less than an hour. Celebrities reposted it. Fans flooded the comments with broken hearts and fire emojis. Some called for justice, others called for peace, but no one stayed quiet. The digital storm had turned into a global hurricane. Back at the mansion, T saw the post, and his heart stopped. His mind screamed one thing: it's over. He walked outside to the balcony, the Atlanta skyline glowing below, his breath visible in the cold night air. He could hear distant sirens, faint music from a club downtown, but everything felt far away. The world was loud, but his heart was silent. Tiny followed him out, hesitant. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I never meant for it to go this far." He didn't turn around. "You ended something I didn't even know existed." Her tears fell, silent but unstoppable. "I thought I was protecting us." He laughed bitterly, the kind of laugh that carries no joy. From what? From pain, from shame, or from the truth? The silence between them stretched into eternity. The only sound was the wind and the clicking of cameras from somewhere beyond the gates. The world was still watching, even now, even here, even at their lowest, down the block. News fans parked like vultures. Reporters rehearsed their lines. Breaking news from Atlanta tonight. Drones buzzed overhead, recording the silhouettes of two broken people on a balcony, unaware that even their pain had become content. At that same moment, Shekinah was watching a live stream of the scene. She covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. She didn't want any of this. Not the fame, not the fight, not the fear. But the internet doesn't ask for permission. It just consumes. Hours later, new audio leaked supposedly from someone close to Tiny. It captured a muffled voice saying, "He'll never forgive me. I can't even forgive myself." The clip racked up millions of plays on TikTok captioned, "Tiny admits regret." Fans debated in the comments. Was it real? Was it guilt? Was it performance? No one knew. Everyone had an opinion. By morning, the chaos had gone global. British tabloids called it America's new royal scandal. Podcasts analyzed the psychology of betrayal. TikTok creators reenacted the drama with sound effects and tears. Everyone was addicted to the heartbreak. Inside his studio, T turned on his mic. He wasn't recording music this time. He was recording pain. "I used to think love made me stronger," he said quietly. "Now I realize it just makes you vulnerable." He paused. "They call this entertainment, but this ain't entertainment. This is my life falling apart." He ended the recording without a beat. No chorus, no hook, just silence. Tiny sat in the living room, scrolling through a new headline. Fans petitioned to cancel Tiny. She destroyed a life. Her hands trembled. Every decision she made to protect her family now looks like destruction. Every intention twisted into cruelty. Fame had turned morality into a game of optics. And she was losing. She whispered to herself, "When did love become punishment?" But nobody was there to answer. Shekinah's lawyer released a statement hours later. Short, firm, devastating. Ms. Anderson is seeking emotional and financial justice for the trauma she endured. The word justice echoed through Atlanta like thunder. Suddenly, this wasn't just gossip anymore. It was legal. Reporters camped outside court buildings. Commentators debated on live streams if this goes to trial. One said, Atlanta might never recover its reputation. T saw the headline and smashed another glass against the counter. "They're turning our pain into profit," he shouted. His friend tried to calm him down. Tip: the only way to win is to disappear for a while. Disappear from Atlanta, from music, from everything he'd built. It sounded impossible, but maybe that was the only escape from the circus fame had created. As night fell again, the mansion grew quiet. The kids were gone. The staff dismissed. The lights dimmed. Only shadows remained. Shadows of love, anger, and guilt. Tiny sat on the couch, head in her hands, whispering prayers between sobs. She had lost her best friend, her husband's trust, and the public's forgiveness, all in one breath. Outside, Shekinah stared at the city lights through tear-streaked windows. She didn't hate Tiny. She didn't even blame her anymore. She just wanted peace, something fame never gave her. And in between them, somewhere in the Atlanta night, T stood under the stars, whispering to himself, "Maybe love ain't supposed to survive fame." The wind howled through the trees. The mansion lights flickered once, then went dark. The city was quiet again. But the internet was louder than ever, spinning, dissecting, judging, creating new hashtags out of heartbreak. This wasn't the end of the story. It was just the latest tragedy in a world that feeds on pain. Because in this era, heartbreak doesn't die, it trends. Love doesn't heal, it goes viral. And privacy doesn't protect you, it betrays you. Atlanta would move on. The blogs would find new targets. The fans would chase new tears. But for those inside that mansion, the scars would stay forever. And as the final line of the leaked video, echoed across millions of screens. Tiny whispering, "I just wanted to save us." The world realized something chilling. You can delete a post, you can silence a comment, but you can't erase a heartbreak that's gone viral. This is Gossip Spill Vibe, and this story isn't ending.